Hello, friends. Once upon a time, deep in the woods, lived a squirrel. The squirrel's name was Shiver. Shiver was an ordinary squirrel. He lived in an ordinary house and had an ordinary family. But every winter, when the first snow fell from the sky, Shiver would become very happy, because he had a secret plan. And that was to keep the first snowflake that landed on his nose. Every year, he would wait patiently for the first snowflake. And as soon as one landed on his nose, he would jump up and down with joy and keep it in his paws for the whole day. The other squirrels thought Shiver was crazy. "Why do you keep that cold, hard, wet thing? Throw it away," they would say. But Chipper just smiled and kept the snowflake anyway. One day, a wise old owl noticed Chipper sitting on a tree branch holding a snowflake. So the owl flew down to Chipper and asked, "Why do you keep this snowflake?" Chipper replied, "I just like to hold the first snowflake of winter. It makes me happy." The owl sat next to Chipper on the branch and said, "Happiness is not the only reason to keep something. Sometimes you need to keep things for other reasons, like for memories or for friendship." "For friendship?" asked Chipper, tilting his head. The owl nodded. "Like you, I also have a thing that reminds me of my friends." The owl took out a small, smooth stone from his pocket. It looked like a pebble, but it wasn't rough or sharp at all. It was perfectly smooth. "What's this?" asked Chipper. The owl replied, "This stone was just an ordinary stone once, but it became special to me because my friend and I used to play with it when we were young. We would roll it around and try to keep it on our beaks while we were skating on the ice." Chipper listened to the owl's story and thought about what the owl had said. Maybe there was more to keeping the first snowflake than just being happy. Maybe he could keep it as a reminder of the first snowfall of each year, or maybe he could even share it with his friends and family. From that day on, Shiver continued to keep the first snowflake of winter. But now he would also think about what else the snowflake could mean to him. Sometimes it was just a reminder of the beauty of nature. Sometimes it was a reminder of his friendship with the other squirrels. And sometimes it was a reminder of the day he had met the wise old owl. One year, a big blizzard hit the forest. The wind was so strong that it almost knocked Shiver off his feet, and the snow was coming down so heavily that Shiver couldn't see anything. Shiver huddled in his house with his family, and they stayed there for 3 whole days until the storm had passed. When Shiver finally went outside again, he saw that everything was covered in snow: the trees, the houses, the ground. But most importantly, he saw that all the other squirrels had lost their first snowflakes. They had melted away during the blizzard. Shiver felt sad because he had lost his first snowflake too. But then he looked at his paw. In his paw was a tiny little seed. It was smooth and flat and looked just like a snowflake. Shiver didn't remember planting a seed in his backyard, and he knew that this was no ordinary seed. This seed had come to him on a snowflake, and as he held the seed in his paw, he remembered what the wise old owl had told him. A friend can make a thing special just by being your friend. That's exactly what had happened to the seed. It wasn't just a seed. It was a reminder of his friend, the wise old owl. And from that day on, whenever Shiver saw a snowflake, he remembered the day he had spent with his friends, how they had played and laughed and made memories together. And he knew that even though the snow might melt away, the memories he had made would last forever. So friends, just like Chipper, we should always cherish the things that remind us of our friends and the good times we have spent together. Even if these things are small and seem unimportant, they can still be very special to us.